Hey dudes, it's PDubs. Thanks as always for hanging out upstairs with us and for checking out the channel. So got a new marquee here for the Arcade1Up Class of 1981. I've done plenty of marquee reviews and tutorials in the past, but I've never done one from Retro530, so that's what we're going to look at. You get your marquee. He did include a free gift. I don't know if you guys will get a free gift. I know I did. Got some little screw hole covers. He may have just done that for me. You get your Y splitter, you get a nice little adapter plug here to make sure you can get power out of the Arcade1Up PCB, as well as the appropriate replacement screws, because you're going to use his, not Arcade1Up's. I did pay for this marquee out of my own pocket, but it's really nice that Laramie Griffith over at Retro530 gave me some screw hole covers so we can kind of cover up those open exposed screws, one of the banes of my existence with Arcade1Up products. Before we install this marquee into the Arcade1Up cabinet, let's take a look at it. So here's the Namco 20-year reunion class of 1981 marquee. Looks more like what the real marquee looked like on the original machine, because Arcade1Up did have to take some liberties, I'm assuming due to licensing issues. They couldn't put Namco or 20-year reunion on their marquee. What I found really impressive about Retro530 is it does appear that these are the entire marquee, everything is housed inside of a case, as you can see here. He does a lot of 3D printing. A lot of his products are 3D printed, and it actually looks like he 3D prints these cases. So these are custom cases exclusive to him. Little light boxes to hold the light in there. The LED strip, all that stuff is installed. The wire's sticking out. So basically, you just need to mount this in your Arcade1Up, plug it in. But I'm actually really impressed with this case and the style that he's doing the marquees in. Alright, so since we need to fiddle with the wires inside, obviously step 1 is going to be to remove that brown backboard on the back of the cabinet. Step 2, we're going to unplug. Now the power cable to the main PCB on the bottom right corner is already unplugged, but we need to unplug the top right port. That is our cable for the marquee, for the original marquee, as well as there's a Y splitter that was supplied by Arcade1Up providing power to the control deck. Get all that unhooked. Now the goal, of course, with any marquee install is not to completely disassemble your arcade cabinet. So step 3 should be pick one side of the cabinet that you're predominantly going to be loosening and removing screws on, and go ahead and loosen the monitor screws from that monitor bracket. Usually unscrew those about halfway because you want to have the ability to spread the cabinet without completely disassembling it. And step 4, whatever side of the monitor that you decided to loosen the screws on, go to that same side on the exterior of the panel and go ahead and start loosening the screws all around on the exterior of the panel. You don't need to remove them all the way, just loosen them. The only one that you do need to remove all the way, of course, is the top screw on both sides of the cabinet, because those are the screws that hold the original marquee in, and we need to remove those to get those off of there. Don't mind the dust and dog hair. And go ahead and repeat the same steps on the other side of the cabinet. Now that should give you enough wiggle room to gently spread the cabinet. You'll notice things are probably going to start falling as you spread the cabinet, but you'll be able to get that H panel removed. Once that H panel is removed, as you can see here, we definitely want to reuse the speakers, but we want to remove that marquee. So you want to very carefully make sure that the 4 dowels that are on opposite ends of the speaker board are lined up in their holes. You don't have to worry about the speaker board being screwed in. Once you screw in and tighten the cabinet, as well as once the dowels are in there and everything, it will hold that speaker board in place, no danger of falling. And that brings us to step 6, where you're going to take a screwdriver and you're going to remove that white bracket that's connecting the speaker board to the original Arcade1Up marquee. You're not going to need to use that white bracket on the new marquee, nor will you need to use the two wooden dowels that are on the front of that speaker board as well that connect to the original marquee. You're going to remove all 3 of those pieces. Once you do that, you'll be able to gently remove the original Arcade1Up marquee. I thought this would be a fun shot. On the bottom is the original Arcade1Up Miss Pac-Man Galaga Class of 1981 Light Box Marquee. What we're going to do here is we're going to grab our Retro530 Class of 1981 Light Box Marquee. We're going to put it on top so you guys can get a nice little comparison of how this looks. As you can see, there are some definite differences in regards to the quality of the prints and the artwork and the things included on the artwork. I have to say, I'm loving the new one that much better. At this point, you can go ahead and line up and install the new marquee, and you'll notice, like I said, as long as the wooden dowels for the speaker are in their holes, it's not going to fall. And now at this point, as you can see, the marquee's there. You might want to throw a screw in on each side of the marquee, but don't screw it in all the way, but just to hold everything in place while you begin to work on your wires. go ahead and grab your Y splitter from Retro530. You're going to use a combination of his Y splitter plus the Y splitter that came from Arcade1Up and connect everything together, male to female. Provided you connect everything together correctly, which it's really hard to make a mistake, there's only like one possible way to do it, what'll end up happening is you'll be able to power on everything, the marquee, the light up control deck, the cabinet, all that stuff. It's going to look a little something like this with all the Y splitters connected together. Once you have all your cables plugged into your PCB board, I would recommend just go ahead and plug in your cabinet, turn it on, make sure everything works the way you want it to, that everything fires up at the same time and turns off at the same time. Once that happens, you can go ahead and now get your H panel lined back up into the grooves, into the new marquee, and begin reassembling and rescrewing together and tightening all the screws. Do not forget to tighten all the screws that you loosened previously. And you know what's crazy? Usually when you try to capture footage of marquees, depending on the camera you're using, you have those auto dimming features. So of course we do have some auto dimming on here, so the pinks don't look as pink as they do in real life, nor does that green Galaga logo. But as you can see, when you fire up this bad boy, the marquee overall is a million times better than the original Arcade1Up marquee. Look at the camera catch up. Look at that image. Let's get you an even better shot. I mean, take a look at this, guys. This is what this new marquee is going to look like on your cabinet. It does have the original Nameco and 20-year reunion branding. And look at that, the marquee, it's not washed out. The blacks look black, the pinks look pink, the greens look green. This is such a huge improvement versus the lazy marquee created by Arcade1Up, obviously to save on costs. But look at the quality in this print. My final thoughts are, I think Retro530, Laramie Griffith, dude, you make some pretty good marquees, sir. I'm seriously impressed. I'm absolutely loving this. And yes, I would highly recommend this marquee mod for the Arcade1Up Class of 1981, or use him for your other Arcade1Up cabinets, etc. Let me know your feedback below, give me your honest opinions and reactions. If you enjoyed the review and tutorial, give us a thumbs up on the way out, and thank you for subscribing.